Oh, sorry, mate. One more second. Go on, you're right now. sorry, man. My fingers slipped. Sorry about that. Where are you going to?
On to town, please, mate.
Town. Yeah. It's 40 quid.
40 quid. It's a bit.
40 quid, yeah. The fares have all changed. Or you can have there's a super duper pass as well.
How much is this?
Yeah, which is 40 quid as well. Have you got a student ID or anything?
I've got a student card as well.
Have you got there?
15 quid.
15 quid. Yeah, give us that. There's one. I printed that one out earlier on. On you go, mate. I'll just do a smooth take. That's fine. I'll do a smooth take off. Everything's fine. Situation normal. Just going on my break, mate. Steve. It wasn't on my phone. Could die of that.
This is 421 there. Requesting backup. We got a perfect corner with an avenue. Got a perfect This is 421 there. Requesting backup.
Right, well, I'm obviously not really a bus driver. It is just one of several different jobs that I do, which enable me to do what I really want to do, which is host Reloaded, Channel M's computer game show. I've set up here this week. See what's on tonight's show. You know there's plenty on the show, and in our preview section we've got a real treat for you, a sneak preview at Media Molecule's Littlebigplanet. I'll also be giving you a full and very serious update in the gaming news. In our review section we've got some martial arts action with Genji 2 on the PS3, some retro action with Metal Slug Anthology on the Wii and PSP, and some tactical fighty action with Command & Conquer Tiberium Wars. I'll also be chatting to a man who likes to keep his software sensible, John Hare. Let's get on with the show. Oh, sorry about that bumpy takeoff. Are you alright, man? Did I hurt you before? It doesn't matter, it's not important. This is important. The news! This is the gaming news. Be quiet and listen. Simply art. There's been much debate over the years whether games can genuinely be considered as art. Obviously, the answer to that question is difficult to answer. No, it's not. Obviously, the answer is of course it is. You joke in illustration, innovation, and interaction. They're like the best art ever. Like well better than like Tony Hart. However, the Chelsea Art Museum in New York have blurred the boundaries even further with their new installation based on suburban day-to-day life simulator, The Sims. Well, let's be honest, I guess it was only a matter of time. We've already had Sims in the City, Sim Superstar, Sim Holiday, Sim Dating, Sim Pets, Sim Ancient Greco Wrestling, Sim 20-metre Swimming Award, and Sim Badger Baiting. Maybe not those last ones. Sims in the hands of the artist will run until May the 12th, and I, for one, bet that it's simply brilliant. And finally, this week, scientists in Spain who had dedicated 40 years of their lives to groundbreaking marine research have discovered that they are to lose their jobs because the foundation's owner is allergic to fish and scientists and research. No more news! Let's have some previews. I don't know, man. I thought it was like a funny story at the end. Previews. Littlebigplanet is an upcoming platformer for the PlayStation 3. Hold on, actually. Do you remember these guys?
We pitched an idea to Sony at short notice and went really well. So we were a year in, and it's been exciting because I was saying
we have a playable demo already, and it's
good fun.
It's huge fun. So
yeah, that's the proof is in the pudding.
I think we're on to a winner myself.
Well, that little idea turned out to be this, Littlebigplanet, and the idea was so good that they had Nintendo and Sony fighting out for their signature. In the game, players control characters using their various abilities to shape and develop the highly manipulative environment to build custom spaces, either as an individual or as a team, and or competitively. It's ended up on the PS3, and it really does look like it's got the potential to be one of the most influential titles of this generation. Right, good. Stop! Okay, well done everyone, good practice there. That's pretty much exactly what it's going to be like when the bus is actually moving. Right, okay, time for our first review of the show. This is Genji 2. Well done guys, just like Star Trek, but more realistic.
Okay, hands up all of those of you who ever wanted to star in those Japanese martial arts films. You know the ones like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Badger, or House of the Flying Badgers. Yeah, that's right, we all love badgers, but we also love martial arts films too, and until now the closest we've ever been able to get is tying our scarf around our head and running around the forest with a plastic sword. And let me tell you, for some reason people call the police, which is weird because it's not illegal. But anyway, all that's about to change. The plot revolves around a 13th century Japanese swordsman given the unenviable task of defending his clan against their arch rivals. Cue lots of hacking, slashing again, and plenty of over-the-top special moves. Throughout the course of the game, you get the chance to play with 4 different characters, all of which offer different ways of dispatching your enemies. The moves themselves are beautifully weighted, and with different types of weapons for each character, giving the game enough variety to stop it becoming repetitive. If those attacks weren't enough, then you also get treated to a cross between bullet time and a rhythm action game when you unleash your Kumai power. That's how I pronounce it anyway. This looks pretty spectacular and does a fine job of clearing a room full of enemies. So then, so far so good. Lots of rather nice graphics, it sounds great, the game's a good length, and you get to kill lots of people. That's great, isn't it? Sicko. Well, not quite. You see, the problem's this. The game starts, the cutscene play through, and you take control. Jump on the X button, various attacks on square, circle and triangle, all lovely stuff, and away you run. Okay, so far. Then you meet your first opponent, slap him a couple of times, then he jumps out of your camera view. There's no point trying to find him because there's no way of manually positioning your camera. I thought that's what the right analog stick was for. You're stuck with possibly the worst camera positionings on every single screen ever. And this unfortunately is Genji's problem. The game itself looks and sounds generally pretty good. However, locking the camera position on every screen and giving the player no option to move the camera whatsoever means that Genji slips from being a perfectly playable game to being ultimately very, very frustrating. For those of you willing to see past this problem, then there is a good looking, fun little game here with a great atmosphere. However, for those of you who haven't been blessed with the patience of a saint, guessing that's me, then you'll be rather disappointed and probably praying that the creators remedy this problem in its next outing, if it gets one.
Right, well we're going to go for a little bit of a break here and reload it, but make sure you're right back with us. Still got plenty more for you, catching a wee bit.
Mate, if you're playing games, who's driving the bus?
No, it's alright. Oh. Hello? No, mate, I'm just having a nightmare. Yeah, it's proper scary, it's all woods and that. No idea what I'm running from. Yeah, mate. Alright, pal. I was going to get uploaded. Bye. Top lad. Oh, my pants. Oh. It's Dragon's Lair. It's one of the worst games ever and it's chasing me. They won't let it lie. You won't just let it lie down and die. They're bringing out another new version, NHD, another one. Wake up, Jerry. Wake up, Jerry. Wake up, Jerry.
Oh, by the name of St. Elvis, it was just a dream.
Freeze. Do you know of any gaming nightmares? New releases with unforgivable flaws, hardware that's only compatible with your bin? Then tell us, we'll tell Jerry, then feed him cheese, and he'll have a nightmare about it. Contact us via email, reloaded@channelm.co.uk. You really are a sweaty man, Jerry.
Hey, oi. No eating on the bus. No eating on the bus, give us that. Right, coming up now, something for all you retro 2D shoot 'em up fans. Here's Metal Slug Anthology. Quality. Free.
Life is the same and it always will be. Easiest picking the foxes from a tree. But I can't get no satisfaction. All I want is easy action.
Run and gun games are pretty thin on the ground at the moment, and in the past, titles such as Contra, Turrican and the seminal Metal Slug used to rule the arcades and the home consoles. However, as more powerful consoles were released, people began to forget about this much loved but ultimately two-dimensional genre. This didn't mean that people weren't interested in playing the classics anymore though, and thankfully, Ignition Entertainment have seen fit to release all 7 Metal Slug titles on one DVD or UMD, depending on which format you opt for. That means that for those of you who played it in arcades some 10 years ago, you can relive all the thrills in your home, or for those of you who were lucky enough to own a Neo Geo, and I'm guessing that wasn't very many of you at all, seeing as the price was horrific, you'll get another chance to own a near pixel-perfect arcade conversion of all 7 titles on one disc. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Metal Slug is widely regarded as one of the best and most loved shooters in gaming history, and something every retro fan should experience at some point. The story places you in control of a 1 or 2 man army hell-bent on stopping world terrorism and keeping peace the world over. 2-man army, one more than I need. How do you do this? Right, well, it's with a massive gun and a note from your mum. And what do you do when a gun just won't cut it? Well, maybe a tank or a helicopter or the back of a camel fully equipped with a Vulcan cannon. No, I didn't make that last bit up, by the way. Metal Slug was and is about over-the-top action, and there still seems to be a place for the stylised 2D blaster even in today's market. So then, I've spoken about how good it used to be and what made it special, and anyone in their right minds knows that 7 games on one disc is a bargain. So the question is, what's the conversion like? Well, I'm pleased to say that graphically and sonically actually, Metal Slug Anthology is faithful to the originals. If you're after a retro-style blaster, then this is pretty much the pinnacle of the genre. But how do these remakes stack up to today's visually stunning market? An arcade blaster, and for a good arcade blaster to work, you don't want to be tilting a remote, you want a good solid stick. Unfortunately, the controls of the Wii don't really lend themselves to this style of game, and if you've got a GameCube control pad actually, you'll probably be happier with that. Metal Slug was always and will be an arcade game, and tilting your Wii remote to run or throw a grenade just feels a bit wrong actually. The PSP compilation does go some way to sort this problem out. Here you've got a choice of either the D-pad or the analog nub. Both work acceptably well. Life, however, still isn't quite perfect on the PSP though. For a game that's more than 10 years old, how long would you say is an acceptable time for something to load? What, 5 seconds? 10 at the most? So then if I was to tell you you could probably finish a 4,000 piece jigsaw puzzle of a zebra stood in an oil slick in the Antarctic before you even choose a character, you'd think I was exaggerating, wouldn't you? Well, you'd also be right, but not by that much. To say that loading times are less than optimal is something of an understatement here. Niggles aside though, Metal Slug is every bit as much fun now as it was more than 10 years ago. All 7 titles on one disc is a fantastic offer, and you even get some added bonuses like artwork and an interview with the creators. This may not convert the younger generation or make them into run and gun connoisseurs, but for those of you who lovingly remember this title and yearn to blast zombies, tanks and massive robots all over again, well, now you can. And let me tell you, I enjoyed it every bit as much this time round as I did all those years ago back when men and women with orange shellfish with beautiful plumage, or as we said it, plumage.
Oi! No drinking on the bus, excuse that. No drinking on the bus, idiots. Right, time for a retro feature. Recently I had a chance to meet up with the man behind Sensible Software, one of the main men, John here. Have a look. Is this a big bottle or am I holding it dead close to my face?
When it started off, you know, if I go back to 1986, we did our first Sensible games, and we started going down to Zap 64, and that was very much the centre of the British gaming community, was that magazine company at the time. Right. And when we used to go down there as kids, like we'd be 19 or whatever, a lot of us had been unemployed or tried to be musicians and failed, or, you know, just left college or whatever. People just finding their feet. And it's like anything, when something's new, you don't really know what it's going to turn into or what's happening with it.
Yeah.
You don't know, it could go nowhere, it could go everywhere, you don't really know at the time. But you get this sense that there's a momentum and a feeling about it.
So how different do you kind of see the industry from then, from a kind of golden age of when you guys were involved in it, to how it is now?
The feed from the game creator to the person buying the game is hugely removed. And we sat down as 19-year-old kids who'd both dropped out of college, who just started doing a few games, and we'd done a couple of games for a third party. This is the start of Sensible Software. We had a demo of Parallax, which was our first game. We went up to Ocean in Manchester.
Yeah.
We sat down with John Woods, the guy who owned the company. He saw the game was good. He saw they could exploit us by just giving us a contract which we shouldn't have signed, but it was okay, and we got some money, and it was a break for us, yeah? But we did business that day. You go up as kids to the biggest publisher in the country, say, give us a deal. He says, okay, and you come back with a contract and a cheque, and you're 19, and you're like, whoa.
What did you just think at the end of that? What did you do that day?
We went back on the train. We had a meal in the carriage. We bought some cigars. We were smoking cigars and eating steak. We were not drinking. It was fantastic. But the point is, that ability to deal directly with the guy holding the purse strings, you just cannot get that now. And so because you can't go directly to people, you've got all these people in the middle trying to justify their jobs and play safe and whatever. And the advantage of going to people like John Woods is that they were all the people that were going to make money off the back of what you were doing. So nowadays, when you go and pitch a game to someone, people are more worried about protecting their salary and making a mistake, and people above them. These guys are just thinking, oh, these guys are okay, I can make some money out of them. Yes. And it actually works better as a business relationship. And that kind of a relationship, that connection between creator and publisher has been lost. That's really a massive loss.
Games like sort of FIFA and things were going a little bit more 3D, we're fitting more graphics in. Was there a real intent to go a little bit more, in a sense, retro or basic with it?
At that time, the reason we went for the look we went for was for gameplay reasons, because we wanted to show a large field of play for Sensible Soccer. And actually, if you look at the Sensible Soccer, all Sensible Soccer is, if you look at that look, the Amiga look we had, Cannon Fodder, Sensible Soccer, blah, blah, it goes back to Megalomania. We just took the Megalomania guys and dressed them up in football kits. And actually, the whole Sensible Soccer perspective is purely Megalomania perspective.
Because it was a much more cult style, though, to pick. I mean, it really took off. People really took that, and it gave a great imagery to the company.
Well,
did that take you by
yeah.
surprise, then?
Yes. I mean, in the sense that did we expect these little guys to become cult? No. The point of the little guys was we wanted to see a big pitch. But then we latched onto it. So, you know, Cannon Fodder was obviously, okay, the little guys work. This is our signature, let's do them again. Sensible Golf, same again. So in the end we latched onto it, but initially it was perspective.
I remember particularly for me when Sensible World of Soccer came out, that was a game, it was sort of coming to the end of the Amiga's life in a sense, and I said, well, I've got to have this and haven't it? And that was just one of those things that's just formed part of people's kind of youth culture. And there must be a great lot of satisfaction to come from that.
Do you know what? A mate of mine sent me this list, okay? It is the top 10 games ever, period, and the most recent game is Sensible World of Soccer on this list, right? Top 10 ever, right? Now, what is particularly pleasing is it's the only sports game on here. It's also the only European developed game in the entire list. That's really good. That is the best thing that Sensible World of Soccer's ever done. That list right there.
Well done.
There you go. Hey. What have you got there?
I'm not hearing anything.
What have you got there?
I'm not hearing anything.
No mints on the bus! Right, coming up next is our main review. This is Command & Conquer Tiberium Wars. I think these have got Tiberium in. Tiberium, Gluximus, Maximus. He was great in Gladiator.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. I'll take you to burn. Fire. I'll take you to learn.
Command & Conquer pretty much invented the real-time strategy genre, and news that a brand new one has just hit the shelves means that gamers the world over will be practicing their tank rushes and polishing up on their defence strategies. The most immediate thing you notice about Command & Conquer 3 is how faithfully it sticks to the tried and tested Command & Conquer formula. Whilst games like Joint Task Force and Company of Heroes introduced new ideas and pushed their boundaries towards the end of last year, EA/LA decided fans of one of its most famous franchises would be better treated to an update. Now, if you've played any of the previous versions in this series, then you'll be up and running in no time at all. Whilst everyone loves innovation, there's certainly a lot to be said for not trying to fix something that isn't broken, and this is the prettiest and most polished, graphically stunning release of the game yet. As fans of the series, I've come to expect from Command & Conquer, you also get the famously hammy cutscenes, which tend to have you laughing at the actors rather than actually following the plot. Hold on, isn't that guy from Lost? It's proper Lost now, isn't he?
Got communications first, so they can't call for backup.
And playing the same character, I see. And hold on, and why is Michael Ironside wearing a car mat? Right, that scene was all wrong. Right, I reckon I can do this better. Right, try from the top places, people.
Right, I'm glad you're here. I know we're going to watch a video tonight, but I can't find the remote control anywhere. I've been looking everywhere in the boxes. It's all downstairs and upstairs, and I can't find anything anywhere.
Sorry, buddy, I found your remote control. It's down the sofa. I think we should stick it on. There's a problem, look. It's stuck on Sky News.
You're joking.
Aye.
I don't believe it. All that money I've paid in subscription fees year in, year out. Damn NTL. I can't believe it. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm livid.
Oh, that's minging.
To be able to run these fantastic graphics, you need the very best of today's PCs, and even on a relatively decent test rig, the game struggled in places. On the other hand, if you do have the machine to run it well, then you're treated to a visually stunning game, each landscape beautifully rendered and subtly different from the last one. One welcome new feature is the introduction of an entirely new controllable alien race named the Skrin. Nice name. This ensures that even the seasoned Command & Conquer vets will have something new to try. There are enough subtle differences between the three different factions to make playing as any one of them a refreshingly different experience. There are, as expected, a host of different multiplayer maps and options, and games are generally over in less than 30 minutes, which means you don't have to put aside an entire evening just to go online. You are going to be in your element if you're a fan of real-time strategy games. Command & Conquer Tiberium Wars is the best this series has looked, and there's a lot of fun to be had by blowing up the evil Nod forces, although not as much fun as this.
Yeah, well, I'm here at the Rolling Stones concert. There's a lot of special effects. Keith Richards is trying to jam his winky into the amplifier. We're hoping he won't do it. Oh no, he's done it! Oh, run away!
Man's a legend.
One second, mate. I wasn't while I was driving, it was only when we were stopped. Right, it looks like it's about time for me to start wrapping things up here, but make sure you join us same time next week, because at the end of the day, there's other jobs, but there's only one Reloaded.
Well, sadly, yes, that's Reloaded over for another week, but if you've really enjoyed it, it doesn't have to end. You can go to the worldwide Tinterwobble and catch up on all the previous episodes, and even last series, which was darn insightful in its own right. Just go to www.channelm.co.uk/entertainment and follow the clicks to Reloaded. You can even send us an email, reloaded@channelm.co.uk. Let us know what you've liked or tell us to stop. But we won't stop.
Alright, mate, alright, calm down, fair enough. Watch the console. It's ridiculous. Don't want to be a driver anyway. If fares are well too expensive, 40 quid. It's well bad, that. And someone's been eating on the bus. Well, it wasn't me. And someone did the opposite to eating on the back seat. Pound.